Minister, thank you once again for having this conversation with me. On the 20th of September, Leader of the Opposition, Aubrey Norton, made a few statements regarding the Kuru Kuru Co-op Society, saying, and I quote, that lands were taken away from African Guyanese at the Kuru Kuru Co-op to give to PPP supporters. What are your thoughts and comments on that situation?
The first thing, let me begin by saying, lucidly, that the Leader of the Opposition, Aubrey Norton, is a liar. That's a patent lie. No lands were taken away from anyone, any black people. And to make this point that people understand, many times when the likes of Norton and the Lincoln Lewises, they speak, they give the impression that co-op societies are only the domain of people of African ethnicity, which is total baloney. Because through the length and breadth of this country, you have co-op societies that they have all different ethnicity. You have co-op societies in Region 1, you have in Region 9, predominantly people of Amerindian heritage. You have co-op societies in Region 6, in 2 and 3. Most of the fishermen co-ops, if not all of them, are predominantly Indo-Guyanese. And you have co-op societies that are mixed with all different ethnicity. So to make this ludicrous argument about discrimination and about the PPP racism against black people, these people like Norton, they attempt to fool people to believe that only black people, only Afro-Guyanese manage co-op societies. So I need to put that out there so people understand. The Kuru Kuru Co-op Society is a co-op society of people of all different ethnicity. If you know the highway, you have Amerindians who live on the highway. So the society has Indians, people, Indo-Guyanese, Afro-Guyanese, and people of who are Amerindians. So that's the first lie to suggest that we have taken away black people lands. The second issue is there is no taking away of anything. When I became minister, I met a dysfunctional co-op society managed by some people who were close and are close to the APNO FCPNC. And if we talk about who was taking away lands and giving lands to people that didn't qualify for land, would have been those persons who, the former management committee who has a relationship with the People's National Congress. And so what happened, 1 year I was in dialogue with this management committee, seeking to get information from them about how they're managing the co-op society. Most of the information, it was not forthcoming. The people who were members of the co-op society in Kuru Kuru had no information given to them by the management committee. And let me say this, a lot of people seem not to understand. A co-op society is owned by all the members in equal shares. A management committee is not a higher being than the ordinary member. All that happens is that every year or every 2 years, based on the rules, they have an annual general meeting to elect persons to run the organization, to run the company, so to speak. That could be thrown out at any time based on the votes of the people. So the management committee there at that time, they were running this place like it belongs to them. Like they had no relationship with the members. They had no relationship with giving information to the members. And they were engaged in all kinds of land dealings that the people who live in the community didn't know about. Importantly, they were seeking to deny children of members of the co-op society access to land. So you had the second generation of persons who were born and grew up in that place who that management committee was telling them that they couldn't get access to land. They want to branch out, they are married, they want to leave their parents. But at the same time, they were allowing people who don't live in Kuru Kuru, people who are residents in Georgetown, they were allowing them access to land, giving them land there. They had persons who live overseas for 40 years who are landowners in this co-op society. So, who are, of course, got relationship with the then management committee. So that is what we set out to straighten out. And after they were not willing or enthusiastic to ensure that the co-op society run in a way whereby it is accountable and transparent, the chief co-op development officer utilized the authority and power that she has. That at any time, under the Act, she can bring an end to a management committee and have established a interim management committee for a specific period to deal with specific matters that are identified at the time when they're appointed, and that's what she has done. Importantly, the audit of the co-op society. For years, there was no audit. So people are unaware what is the state. The members didn't know how many accounts they have, how much money are in these accounts. All of that type of information was being hidden from the membership. And the people couldn't take it anymore, so you have members who petitioned the minister to intervene, and they are allowed to do that. And I intervened. I sought to have meetings with the then management committee, but they were not forthcoming. And so, as I said, the chief co-op development officer utilized her authority and have a management committee, interim management committee established. And the important thing is, the interim management committee has on it persons who are co-op society members still that live in the community. It has attorney at law who, because of the land issues, she determined that, listen, we have legal issues, so it might be useful that you have lawyers involved on the management committee, business persons. And this committee, if I recall, has only one person who's an Indo-Guyanese. And I've made available to you a brief, so you can look at it to see all the things that happened during the period.
So, Minister, let me ask you, since that interim management committee has been set up, what has it been able to accomplish so far?
Well, and it shows, if you look at the brief, they're opening up lands. They're seeking to have constructed new roads. They have engaged the government, and as I understand it, because I was in there about 3 weeks ago, the Ministry of Public Works has started to do a road in there. They have engaged a private businessman who is helping them to open up 2 new roads. And if you have more roads done, that means you have more access to land. So that means they're having more access to land now, where they can properly distribute lands and give out to persons who the then management committee were refusing to give lands. The other important thing is that they have reached out to the police and Home Affairs to seek to have the police put a police station in the area. They have reached out to through the Ministry of Health to seek to have ministry put a health center in there. And they have already cleared the land that they will hand over to the government to put in these facilities that are needed in the community. Importantly also, these people have moved this management committee, this co-op society, from a co-op society that was limping to, when you look at what they have done, the former management committee could not get dues collected from members. because they had no confidence in them to spend their money and to manage. Well, look at, from the period when the IMC came into being, less than a year, they were able to get $9.4 million in dues during that period. Because the people now have confidence in them and what they're doing. The other thing is, the bank balance, as I speak to you, is $28.8 million, moving from a position of RED red. So what you have here is an IMC that is managing and not mismanaging like the former management committee was doing. So of course, yes, Mr. Norton will have difficulty with what is happening there, because the People's National Congress encouraged the mismanagement. And I give you this so that you understand. We attempted to have an AGM twice under the authority of the Chief Co-op Development Officer. You know what? In one instance, when the AGM was called, you had present in the meeting Mr. Joseph Armand, who was leader of the opposition at the time. You had present in the meeting Mr. Eddie Collins. You had present in the meeting Mr. Ubrad Singh, who's the mayor of Georgetown. I don't know what interest he has up there. But what that was showing, and it's shown, where you had the PNC trying to influence the outcome of the meeting and the elections. So, yes, Mr. Norton is annoyed, must be annoyed, because they cannot manipulate the IMC like they manipulated and controlled and dominated the management committee that was there for all the years. So that is what is happening, and as I said, you have the brief to show what has happened since these people have taken over to manage an interim management committee. That is what it is. It means interim. The ministry don't want neither the CCDO to manage that forever. We'll bring it, the IMC will bring it to a place where they can have an annual general meeting, and then the people will elect again their members who they want to manage that is the intention of an interim management committee.
Minister, if I can ask, finally as we conclude, what do you think this says, the statements made by leader of the opposition about their position on discrimination and race baiting here and there?
Well, what they're doing, look, when you have nothing else to say, you have no program, no plan, you cannot present to the Guyanese people a way forward where we can take this country, where we will be able to take this country. And that was proven in government. They were useless, out of sync with what needed to be done. And out of government, in opposition, they have no program, nothing to take to the Guyanese people. So the constant conversation is the issue of alleged discrimination. And they just glibly come up with things and say it, you know? Like, you know that you came here and you interviewed me twice about this matter of the building in Region 2. And Mr. Norton would still return and utter trash about the building. You know? That we took over the same thing when this is a building that is being rented by the ministry. You know? So they have no shame. They believe that the Guyanese people are silly, and therefore they utter this stupidity. And it's a constant thing, and therefore we have to be constant also. And that's why I'm here this morning seeking to rebut the foolishness that Norton said, to make this point that the Kuru Co-op Society is not taken over by the PPP. But no matter, the PPP as an entity don't even know what I'm discussing here. You understand me? It is the Chief Co-op Officer development office under the powers that she has. She has intervened because this place was being mismanaged. And the Kuru Kuru Co-op Society is not the only one. As I speak to you, there are several co-op societies where we have intervened, and we have management committee. We have intervened in credit unions, and we have put in interim management committee because they were not managing them to the benefit of the people. And I will continue to do that because these things were established to help ordinary people. And if people are utilizing it to rob ordinary people, I will bring an end to that. I have no apologies for Norton or nobody. And that is what I will continue to do. But to say that the Kuru Kuru Co-op Cooperative Society is a black people society is total trash. It's a society of people of all different ethnicity. That's the first lie from Norton. Second lie is the PPP is taking it over. Which PPP? The Chief Co-op Development Officer has established an interim management committee to develop the place and to bring the books of the place together and to put in place all the procedures as regards managing the society in a way that is transparent and accountable. And thirdly, when you look at the brief, what they have done in that period, what they have done in less than a year, the management committee that was there for, I don't know, maybe a decade, they couldn't do, because they were not concerned about the development of the community. They were concerned about themselves and their political friends, and they were making lands available to them. So I just thought it useful to come and to speak to this matter so that people can be clear as to what is and what is not. And I will continue to do that. I know all my colleagues, we will continue to do that. Once these guys continue to speak this mantra they run about discrimination against people of African origin, ethnicity. You know, the thing is so stupid. Here, Joseph Hamilton, Afro-Guyanese, somehow, I am a part of a government that is discriminating of people of my ancestry, against people of my ancestry. It's so stupid, eh? Prime Minister is a person of African ancestry, he's Afro-Guyanese. The Minister of Home Affairs, the Minister of Public Works, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Minister of Tourism and Trade and Industry, and I could go. And somehow, we who are Afro-Guyanese, we have set out to discriminate against Afro-Guyanese, you know. But that is what they continue to suggest. And the evidence is there that every day we do our best to ensure that people's lives are made better in this country, every day, all of us. And so thank you very much for having me this morning to just respond to Mr. Norton and his lies that he peddled a couple of days ago. Thanks again.
Thank you so much.